I'm Dr. Sean Pastuch, owner and founder of Active Life, and you are listening to Annie Talks.
Annie Talks, Annie Talks. Welcome to the show. Here we go with Annie Talks. Annie Talks, Annie Talks. Welcome to the show. Here's your host, it's Annie Talks.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Annie Talks, where we bring to you interesting stories about interesting people that you want to know about. I'm your host, Annie Rivera. Thank you for tuning in, and to those who have already subscribed. If you're new to the podcast, welcome, and I hope you enjoy what you hear. And if so, I personally invite you to subscribe. Annie Talks is brought to you by Daily Gadgets and More. Daily Gadgets and More is proud and committed to offering the largest variety of high-quality products at the lowest prices and the best customer service. Find us on Instagram or visit dailygadgetsandmore.com. That's dailygadgetsandmore.com. My guest on this episode is retired chiropractor and now founder of the Active Life, Dr. Sean Pastuch. Dr. Sean Pastuch is in that minority of people who make the earth spin as it does, not a passive contributor, but as a relentless, forward-thinking agent for change. He's on a mission to change the way people understand their pain and their ability to get out of it. Dr. Pastuch is a force of nature, but what's more important is he helps the rest of us realize that we can be too. So, without further delay, here now is my conversation with Dr. Sean Pastuch. So I have the privilege of speaking with Dr. Sean Pastuch, who is a chiropractor and fitness coach. Dr. Pastuch, thank you so much for being on the show. I really, truly appreciate it.
It's my pleasure, Annie.
Thank you. So why don't we dive right in? Why don't you kind of give us a chronology, a sense of of who Dr. Pastuch is, and all that happened, in the early days leading up to who Dr. Pastuch is today.
Yeah, no, I'd love to do that. And thank you very much again for having me on the show. I'm excited to talk to you.
Absolutely.
Who I am and what I do are not at all the same, right? And I coach at this point in my life. I'm fortunate I get to coach young entrepreneurs and fitness coaches and doctors on how they can improve their self-worth, their self-awareness, and build a business around that. And the first meeting that I always have with them is to ask, okay, who are you guys and why are you here? Mm-hmm. And they always go through this line of, thought where everybody tells me, I'm a physical therapist and I want to grow my business to this. I'm a CrossFit coach and I want to do this. I'm an athlete and I want to do this. Mm-hmm. And I always end the conversation saying, that was a lot of fun. Now I know what all of you guys do. The problem is I still don't know who any of you are. So our next meeting, we're going to talk about who we are. And what I want you to do this week is write a mission statement for your personal life. Not your business mission statement, your personal mission statement. So that was a long way of saying, who I am and what I do are not exactly the same. Who I am is I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm an intentional leader and an intentional learner. I spent the first, 32 years of my life thinking that I was special, thinking that I could lead people with my inborn God-given ability to speak and to rah-rah and to work hard. And I continued to find myself lacking the results that I thought I deserved and that I thought I had coming to me. So it took a lot of soul searching, hiring coaches, working with professionals to help me recognize that I wasn't a good leader. I wasn't leading intentionally. I just thought I could do it. I wasn't learning. I thought I knew everything. So by taking those two things and recognizing you don't know anywhere near enough and you never got taught how to lead, that was transformative for me. So now I like to tell people I'm an intentional leader and an intentional learner. What I do is I actually retired as a chiropractor, no longer see patients in person. I retired as a fitness professional, as a fitness coach. I sold my CrossFit gym. I sold my chiropractic clinic. And I own a company called Active Life, which is the only company in the world helping thousands of people to get out of pain without going to the doctor or missing the gym from anywhere in the world. And my job in that company used to be helping all the clients. My job in the company now is mentoring and developing the staff.
Okay, very nice. So now, can you tell us how that came about? How you went from being a chiropractor and then a fitness coach to now just the owner and founder of Active Life? What was that aha moment that made you kind of just ditch everything and just say, hey, this is the way I want to go, and because of these reasons?
Good question. So it was a slow drip aha moment, if that makes any sense.
Sure.
So what I mean by that is, I opened my CrossFit gym and my chiropractic clinic on October 24th and November 17th, respectively, of 2011 in Long Beach, New York, a beach town.
Mm-hmm.
And by May, we were busy. Everything was going really well. It was the American dream. My next door neighbor decided to sue us for making too much noise.
Oh.
Okay, that sucks. But we'll fight the lawsuit. We have no choice but to fight the lawsuit. So we fought the lawsuit. On October 25th, 2012, we got notice that we won the lawsuit, that we could stay open, continue operating as we were doing it. We were doing nothing wrong, and we could continue, which was great. It cost $120,000, which I didn't have, but it was great.
Mm-hmm.
October 29th, the same year, Hurricane Sandy came up the East Coast and wiped our gym, our clinic, and my home off the map.
Oh, wow.
In an hour. So everything that we had built was gone.
Wow.
And I remember saying to myself, when people hear about that kind of stuff, and it's like, oh, that's sad, I'm sorry for you. I'm not looking for that. It's the thing about it that I learned, that I never understood when I looked at it from the outside in, is, yeah, if you run a business, it stinks that your building got destroyed, your equipment got ruined, and you have to rebuild it. What really stinks is that nobody lives there anymore because their houses got ruined. So restarting a business isn't the easiest thing to do. And what I decided was that I was down the line, I was going to figure out exactly how to get myself to a place where I never had to worry about something I couldn't control environmentally affecting my business. I didn't want to lose business when it snowed. I didn't want to have people not come in because it was too hot. I wanted to have something that was stable. And that was the aha moment for me. And then it took about 6 years to develop it.
Okay, very nice. So now tell us, I was reading something where you were saying that the way in which fitness and healthcare are going now, is there something wrong with the way that fitness and the direction that it's going now? What is your fitness philosophy, or what is your philosophy of your Active Life business?
So the philosophy is that you should be able to get out of pain without going to a doctor and without missing the gym if you're capable of getting out of pain without going to the doctor and without missing the gym. Mm-hmm. There's a large population of people who can do that. The problem is we all walk across the stage as doctors and we take this oath. And the oath is do no harm. Right? Have you heard of the Hippocratic Oath, Annie?
Yes.
So we all take the oath, do no harm. The problem is we all go to school for 4 years to be doctors, and nobody in 4 years explains to us what the word harm means. Nobody ever says, hey, yeah, hurting somebody physically would be harmful, and that's bad. That's understood. Hurting somebody emotionally is also harmful, and that's less well understood. So if somebody goes to the doctor and says, hey, my back hurts whenever I lift heavy weights, and the doctor says, well, then just don't lift heavy weights ever again.
Right.
The doctor, whether, usually unknowingly, they don't mean to do it. They create a nocebo effect, and they throw into this person's mind that they cannot do that ever again. And it becomes that person's narrative for the rest of their lives. And that's sad. And it's our job as a company to rewrite that narrative for people, to educate fitness professionals so that they can, bridge the gap between performance and therapy, and to educate doctors and physical therapists and chiropractors so that they can be humanized and bridge the gap on their side. Then everybody can meet in the middle.
Okay. So then what would you say is wrong with chiropractic and physical therapy then?
You have a son, you said, right, Annie?
Yes.
Okay.
I
Do you
have
remember?
several. I have 4 kids, 4 children.
Okay, good for you. I'm on my third. We're working. Our third will be.
Oh, very nice.
So, you know the toy that they use when they go to like test into kindergarten and stuff, where it's these days it used to just be 3 shapes. Now it's like 7 shapes, 10 shapes, and it's a truck, and you can put a circle into it, a square into it, a triangle, a star shape.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let's pretend that chiropractors are the square peg. Physical therapists are the oval peg.
Mm-hmm.
Acupuncturists are the star peg.
Okay.
And continue on your list.
Sure.
When somebody walks into their clinic, they walk in with the shape that they need fixed, but everybody just tries to jam their peg into it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Have you ever been to a chiropractor who didn't adjust anybody? Or to a physical therapist who didn't give anybody exercises? Or to a massage therapist who didn't think that you had knots and needed to be massaged? Or to an acupuncturist who didn't think that your solution was needles?
No, I don't. I can't say that I have.
Most people haven't because it doesn't happen.
Right.
So you walk into the clinic and the problem with the whole process is it's like big pharma ads on TV. Do you need Preventa? I don't even know where Preventa came from in my mind, but I've heard it on TV. I don't know what it does, but if it was a medication that maybe I thought I needed, I might walk into my doctor's office and say, hey, I saw an ad that said I should ask you about Preventa. It's your doctor's job to know what you need. You don't need to tell them what you saw on the TV ad.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But now we have to choose, do I need physical therapy? Do I need chiropractic? Do I need an orthopedist? Do I need a massage therapist? Do I need an acupuncturist?
Mm-hmm.
You're picking the medication.
I see. And then so how do you help them assess that?
With our company?
Right.
Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
So the way that our company works is, let's just say 100 people apply to be clients of ours.
Okay.
We do it through one-on-one help. We do it through templates. You don't have to apply for a template, but for one-on-one help, you have to apply because we set you up with one of our staff doctors who are also strength and conditioning coaches. There's 15 of them. So you would fill out an application. You end up on a phone call with myself or with one of my staff members. And we ask you what's going on. And we ask you what your perfect day would look like. And we want to make sure that your problem is one that we believe very strongly that we can solve, or we send you away.
Mm-hmm.
We'll send you somewhere specific. We will tell you this is where we believe you need to be. It's just not with us. We send away 35% of potential new business because we don't think we can help them. Oh. So if we say yes, we can do the job, no doubt about it. And then what we do is we put you through an extensive interview process with your coach. So we assign you to a coach who we think lines up with you personality-wise. And then that coach puts you through an interview to figure out what's really going on, to get deep. And then they write you an assessment. You're going to video yourself doing some things. You're going to report back how certain things went and tell us how many reps of a given exercise you got. And based on those findings, the coach is going to write you an exercise program that intervenes in your problem.
Mm-hmm. Now, how long typically are these programs? I guess it's case by case, I'm assuming. So let's say, plan A would look like this, and it's usually a 6 to 12 month program, or how specific do you dive into that? 1 week. 1 week.
So we write you a 1 week program, and then we watch how you do it. So we have a platform that's called True Coach, which enables us to write you a program and upload videos so that you never have to worry that you're doing the exercises wrong. Mm-hmm. Video yourself if you think you might be, so that we can give you some feedback, and report all of your performance back to us. We then, as a staff, your coach goes into your account once a week and looks at all of the exercise that you've done for the week. And then they progress it for the following week. Now, that process could be repeated for 3 years. Most people are out of pain within 10 to 12 weeks. Most of our clients stay on for over a year.
Okay. Now, what's the demographic of those that come seeking your expertise or your company's expertise? Are they mostly primarily athletes, or do you have a wide variety of people looking for assistance or help?
So they're active. They're not necessarily athletes. You don't have to classify yourself as an athlete to work with us. You just have to be comfortable doing things that make you a little bit uncomfortable. You have to be willing to go lift a little bit of weight.
Okay.
Not a lot of weight, but you have to be willing to go lift some weight. You have to be comfortable enough that you know how to do that, because we're not there to do it with you. There are some people who we work with and we say, we'll write the program, but we need you to hire a personal trainer to make sure you're doing the program correctly.
Okay. Interesting. Okay.
So the average person who we work with is going to be between 35 and 40 and 55 years old, 35 to 55. Mm-hmm. They're typically making over $70,000 a year. They are disenfranchised with the current medical model. They are frustrated that they're not able to do the things that they want to do and that no one's been able to give them an answer. Mm-hmm. They oftentimes come to us as a last resort, and they think that they have to live the way that they're living.
Okay. Now, could you provide us, like, for our listeners out there, could you give us maybe a success story, somebody that's come in and, you know, for whatever reason had, you know, knew that they wanted to get things in alignment or whatever, and then you wrote a program, and then from start to, or soups to nuts, was able to follow this program. Do you have a success story that you could share with us?
Oh man, I have to sort through my brain as to which one would be best to share with you. We have so many of those. I'll give you the example of a woman named Amanda. Okay. Amanda lives in rural Illinois, mm-hmm. on a farm, and she enjoys CrossFit. And she was having really bad shoulder pain. And she went to her orthopedist, who sent her to a physical therapist, both of whom told her she had to stop doing CrossFit. Because it was causing her too much shoulder pain. She was also told that she should probably get surgery.
Wow. Okay.
She didn't want to get the surgery. She didn't want to stop doing CrossFit. She saw one of my posts and sent us a DM on Instagram. She said, "Have you ever worked with somebody who has a labrum tear?" Mm-hmm. I said, "Yes. Have you heard of our client named Jared Stevens, excuse me, who's a professional CrossFit athlete? He has labrum tears in both of his shoulders. His doctors told him he had to get surgery on both and retire from the sport. And he's been at the top level of it in the world for 3 years after that from working with us." Okay. She said, "Okay, I'll do it." So she signs up to work with us, and she bought a 6-month commitment. 3 months in, she was back to doing everything that she wanted to do before, besides lifting heavy weights over her head. She was lifting light weights over her head, but not heavy weights. But now she was sleeping through the night. She was able to do her chores at the farm. She was able to play with her son. She was able to drive the car without the searing pain. All of those things that we take for granted. Put on the seatbelt, wear a jacket. Mm-hmm. After 4 months, she was back to lifting heavy weight. After 6 months, she was a better athlete than she was before she started with us. She renewed 2 more times. So she's been with us now for 18 months. She hasn't been in pain for a year.
Wow, that's amazing. Wow. So, I mean, your demographic is not just limited to you know, your immediate area, Long Island, New York. So you have customers at patients.
Yep.
Wow.
We have clients in Australia. We have clients in Asia. We have clients in Africa. We have clients in North America, South America, and Europe.
That's awesome. I hope you're enjoying this podcast episode. We'll be right back after this short message from one of our sponsors. Comfitherm thermal wraps are designed to help relieve the pain and swelling in and around the jaw, especially after wisdom teeth extractions. For more information, visit comfitherm.com. That's comfitherm.com. Hey there, Annie Rivera here. Thanks for tuning in to Annie Talks. Be sure to tell your friends about subscribing to the podcast, and don't forget to rate and review the podcast. Doing so helps out with the algorithm and helps others to find this podcast too. I also invite you to like my Annie Talks Facebook page. There you'll find other news, information, upcoming events, and all sorts of things. Stay in the know with Annie Talks. I also invite you to join the Annie Talks Community Facebook group, where we carry the conversation from the podcast episode to the Facebook group. Ask questions about the episode, about a guest, about the locations, you name it. Ask away. This forum is for you. See you on the Annie Talks Community Facebook group. So now, what's the one thing that people come to you primarily for? What's kind of the one thing that you hear people say, Dr. Pastuch, fix me for this reason,
So they come to us because they think they come to us because they want to get out of pain. They've come to us because they feel a sense of loss or fear in their life. And what I mean by that is there isn't one thing. Like, they're not coming with, oh, my knee, my shoulder. Everyone doesn't come with one thing. Mm-hmm. They come with, oh, my shoulder really hurts and my knee's been bothering me a little bit. My back is kind of achy, but I'm getting old. And they come with these narratives. And they come with this false sense of reality that they have to live this way for the rest of their lives. Mm-hmm. That's the common thread that everybody comes to us with, a false sense of their current reality.
Wow. And then now, how? So tell me, you started here locally in your area. How did you grow so quickly to reach these wonderful areas? You said you have clients in where? Australia and
every continent except Antarctica.
That's amazing. How did you grow so quickly?
So on purpose. Part of it was definitely luck. One of our patients moved. He was seeing us in the clinic and he had to leave. He moved to San Francisco. And when he moved to San Francisco, he asked if we could continue working with him. I said, sure. And he ended up referring us to somebody else who was in San Francisco before we ever did this stuff online. I'm like, Drew, I don't know if we can do this online. We don't know if we can take this person. So we started working with his friend. And his friend got great results. So they refer us to somebody else. And it grew and grew and grew and grew like that. So as people move across the country, as people, nowadays the world is so much smaller with the internet and the phones.
Right.
So, it's easy to talk to your friend from college who has this problem that you see them once a year because they moved across the country, but they always complain about their shoulder at this thing that you see them at. It's easy now to shoot them a text and say, hey, I started working with Active Life and my pain's gone. You should work with them too. Mm-hmm. So that's one thing. Second, we took massive advantage of social media. I don't call social media. I call it business media. It's social media for people who are getting used by it. It's business media for people who are using it.
Yeah.
And that's just the truth. So we were doing something that I was excited. I heard a podcast recently about it. Not about us, just about the idea of what we were doing, which is I always get annoyed when I ask somebody, how did your business grow? And they say, oh, word of mouth. It's all word of mouth. Like, that's great, but it also means you have no control over it.
Right.
And how can you gain control over that? So we looked to create what's called a talk trigger. And one of the things that we did to be a talk trigger, by the way, is when people get a service from you that is unexpected and so elevated that they feel compelled to talk about it. Mm-hmm. If you've ever stayed at a Best Western, mm-hmm. you get a gooey cookie when you check in. It's like a great gooey cookie. And they talk about this on this podcast. It was on the social media marketing podcast. But it was, you get a gooey cookie, and that's their marketing. It costs them $1.50 per person who checks in. That's what it costs to make the cookie because they're expensive. They're nice.
Right.
Everybody posts about the cookie at the best.
Because it's memorable. It's something,
Yes.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Seth Godin would say, be remarkable or be forgotten. So when you sign up to be a one-on-one client with us, we send you a notebook, like a journal for you to write in. And I handwrite you a note and mail it out.
Very nice. What a nice touch. I like that. Very, very good. So now what one takeaway or what takeaways do you want listeners? I have listeners out there, all of you that are fitness buffs or fitness or, fitness and health conscious folks out there. People want to know, what one takeaway do you want them to know about the work that you do and the message that you would like to convey?
It's two phrases can I give you two different phrases that kind of mean the same thing? So the first phrase is, we are who we are because it's exactly who we want to be. And what I mean by that is, if you're a professional baseball player, it's because you wanted to be a professional baseball player. And if you're not, and you think you wanted to, you didn't want to badly enough. You didn't make the decisions that it takes to be a professional baseball player. If you don't make enough money, it's because you've decided that not making enough money is okay. You're not willing to be uncomfortable enough to do the things it takes to make more. If you're still in pain, it's because you decided it's okay to be in pain. And that's the second phrase, is if you're still in pain, it's because you decided to be. And what I mean by that is, you haven't tried everything. Mm-hmm. But you complain that your knee hurts, or that your back hurts, or that your shoulder hurts. And it does, and it's real. And you should get it taken care of. But here's the thing. When we convince ourselves that we have a bad knee, or a bad shoulder, or a bad back, we're just lying to ourselves over and over and over again. The same way that you would be lying to yourself if you read a menu at a restaurant and had trouble reading the words, and you just said something like, man, I'm so stupid, I can't read. The first time you said that, people would be like, oh, that's funny, it's weird that Andy said that. but then if they went with you somewhere else and the movie came on and it was captioned and you were like, oh, this stinks, I'm so stupid, I can't read. Right? Mm-hmm. Eventually your friends, or now you're driving somewhere and you can't see, and you got to look at the sign, and they're like, Andy, you gotta navigate. I'm too stupid to read. Like I can't be the navigator. Mm-hmm. Everybody would tell you to stop doing that. Right. But you say, I have a bad knee, I have a bad back, I have a bad shoulder, and everybody's okay with it. Right. As soon as you change that conversation to yourself, as soon as you change that to, I haven't figured out how to fix my shoulder yet, you'll find a way. Yeah, different mindset. Absolutely. Yes. I had a conversation yesterday with a world-class martial artist. I won't name his name because most people who listen to the show would probably know him, and I don't want to sell him out as being a client of ours. This guy is like, dude, I'm mentally tough. Like, I don't have that negative self-talk that you're talking about. So I don't know how you're going to help me, but I'm interested in hearing it. Mm-hmm. So to make a long story short, for the sake of brevity here, I said to him, do you know what the worst case scenario is for your condition? Like, what's the thing you're scared of? What's your worst case? He's like, yeah, I would wake up, call the doctor, say my arm is numb, my neck has searing pain. What do I do about it? And he would say, well, if you got the surgery 10 years ago, like I told you to, you wouldn't have this problem. But now it's too late and it's yours. Mm. He said, that's my worst case scenario. So, okay, that's a pretty scary worst case scenario. Have you thought about your best case scenario and what it would take to get there? Mm-hmm. Dead silence. Right? He's been in pain for 30 years. Oh my goodness. He got kicked in the head 30 years ago in 1986, 32 years. Mm-hmm. And he's convinced himself since then that this is what I'm going to be living with. And I said, if you ever got into a fight, would you ask yourself, how do I not get beat? Mm-hmm. That's your worst case scenario, is getting beat up. What's your best case scenario? He's like, yeah, all I think about is the best case scenario. Well, that should be telling, right?
Yeah. So what did you tell him? So, I mean, I'm just curious I mean, you don't have to go specific. I mean, what was the mindset change that did he catch on and buy on to that and say, hey, you're
Oh,
absolutely
yeah.
right.
Yeah, he texted me all day after that. He said, I can't believe I've never used that kind of thought. Like,
Right.
no one has ever talked to me like that. What I explained to him was, if you're going to get into a fight, you have to think about, what is it that I'm going to have to do to stop this person from ever bothering me or my family again?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you have to do. And he understood that. I said, if you go into the fight and you say, well, this is my worst case scenario, I hope it doesn't happen,
Mm-hmm.
it's likely to, or something close to it. So what I explained to him was, you've tried a bunch of different things, and you've had this for 30 years, so I certainly understand why your mindset goes to, this is permanent. But as soon as your mindset goes to, this is permanent, it is. And what I need you to do is recognize that there are things that we might be able to do to solve this problem for you. We might be able to strengthen your shoulders in a way that actually makes the way your shoulders look when you walk around a little bit weird, but without pain for your shoulders or for your neck.
Mm.
Have you tried that? No. There might be ways that we can have you train in the gym that would strengthen certain muscles and actually weaken other muscles on purpose, that take load off of your neck, that would not be ideal for the normal person walking around on Earth,
Mm-hmm.
but would be ideal for the way that your anatomy currently works. Have you tried that?
Right.
No. I said, okay. Is it worth it for you to try these things and see if they might be what you have to do to get to your best case scenario? Yes. I said, great. We can help you. I'm extremely confident that we can help you.
Wow. Very cool. So not only do you kind of assess them or assess their situation, and then, stop the constant, I don't want to say negative, I guess, for lack of a better term, maybe just change the mindset, change the way in which you say things, change the approach, and then find a way to make it better, obviously, right? So, I mean, I like your philosophy. I just can't pinpoint the type of philosophy that it is, but I think it's very unique in the approach, because it's not, you don't have a one size fits all philosophy for every single person. It's case by case, and it's also, what will help them achieve the goal that they want. They know they need to be fixed. Let's say, hey, I have this issue, and I something needs to happen. So, I've tried A, B, C, D, and it's not working. What do you have? So your approach is 100% different, better, and helps them kind of go a different direction to get to a better place, right?
Well, the big difference, Annie, is you said a mouthful there when you said they know they need to get fixed. They don't.
Yeah, I was going to say, or do they?
They don't.
Yeah. Okay.
They think they can't be.
Oh, good.
The most valuable phrase that we say to people on the phone, and I train my staff to say this when it's, when we can help, is, you're not broken. That's it. Those 4 words, you are not broken. And the person who thinks that they are broken, when they hear that, they shudder.
Really interesting.
Mm-hmm. Because they've been told their whole life, this is what's broken about you. This is what's broken about you. Oh, your elbow has this issue. This is what's broken. You're not broken. You just haven't figured out what's wrong.
Okay.
You don't need to be fixed. You need to move better.
Mm-hmm. So, Dr. Pastuch, you were talking earlier about a book. You were in the process of writing a book. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. Yeah, I'm actually finishing the first rough draft today.
Oh,
so
good.
The book is essentially a journey in self-awareness for people so that they can stop asking the world for permission to have freedom. And what I mean by that is, I believe so many people move through life seeking the approval from others at the expense of their own expression. And the lack of expression becomes a toxic disease that they hold on to. And it corrodes their mind and it corrodes their body, and it builds these false narratives like we've been talking about in their life.
Mm-hmm.
So this book is a story. It's a compilation of stories from my life that were revelatory of the false beliefs that I had and the ways that I've taken action to go around them and through them to become the person who's capable of doing what I've done.
When can we expect this book to be out, and how can we find it?
I don't know. That's a great question.
That's a good question.
This is my first book I've written.
Okay.
I wrote it because I run a program, which is a 17-week-long program for entrepreneurs and intrapreneurs. So basically anybody who wants to improve their mindset and their business can take this course with me. It's 17 weeks long. I only take up to 12 people at a time. And every time I do it, everyone in the program was like, dude, you need to turn this into a book. This is so good. You got to turn this into a book.
Very
So
cool.
I'm doing it.
Very good for you. Yay. Well, then, we'll have to just follow you on your social media and your website. And so we can, be tracking when that book will be out so that we can get it from you. So speaking of which, how can listeners and how can our followers follow you on social media and your website?
Yeah, I'm easy to find. activeliferx.com or activeliferx on social media. Any social media, we're activeliferx. If you want to find me personally, as opposed to the business, you can find Sean Pastuch on social media too.
Well, Dr. Pastuch, thank you so much for being on the show. I've learned a lot. I've learned about, changing your mindset to, understanding how you can be fixed as opposed to, thinking that you're broken, like you say. So that's definitely a game changer for me, going into not just the physical, but even the philosophical, the mental, and the spiritual. Just know you're not broken. Just know you can be fixed, that there is a fix for you some way or shape or form. So I appreciate that a lot. So thank you.
It's my pleasure. We have people who we've helped by helping them make more money so that they could go to sleep at an earlier hour because not working a second job. It doesn't have to be physical.
Right. Well, thank you so much. I really, truly appreciate it.
My pleasure, Annie.
Well, that's it, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Annie Talks and learning about Dr. Sean Pastuch. I really love his mantra, changing the mindset of how you can be fixed as opposed to thinking you're broken. Don't forget to check out Dr. Pastuch's website, activeliferx.com, and don't forget to follow ActiveLifeRx on social media. I will have all that information down below in the show notes. Don't forget to check them out. Now, before we go, if you haven't already subscribed to the Annie Talks podcast, I invite you to hit subscribe and be notified anytime we upload a new episode. If you could also rate and review my podcast, it would surely help me out and it will help others to find this podcast too. You can also follow Annie Talks on social media. I will have all the social media links down below in the show notes as well. Thank you all so much for tuning in and keep listening to Annie Talks.
I'm Dr. Sean Pastuch, the owner and founder of Active Life, and you're listening to Annie Talks.